Ladies and gentlemen, it's a day catastrophic on the coast side of Ivory Coast. Several cities have seen the worst. There was almost no election in many cities, it must be said, huh? Because the opposition, which has decided to flout the elections, it's still put to work, even if they could not achieve the goal that they have assigned themselves. But they have managed to paralyze most of the cities. Yamsokro almost didn't vote. It's the focal point, the nerve center of resistance. While the army, at least the government, deployed on the ground many, but enormously many forces of security defense. Obviously, during the Kruins is like that everywhere in the world. But meanwhile, the protesters have challenged the police. We'll say it so. They ransacked polling stations, as you can see in picture. Yes, as you can already see, roads continued to be blocked, tires were burned, and very unfortunately, there have been cases of deaths that have been reported. It was a peaceful election. All the more so that the Ivorian people had already known that the results were already available, even before the vote can take place unroll. Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, Ivory Coast just finished a day catastrophic. Yes, the election has passed, but what we must fear are the post-election crises. It's the crisis post-election. The way we knew the pre-election crisis. If it continues like this, it will be very serious for the regime of Alassane Draman Ouattara. We already know it. We know it. The people Ivorian who demands, who says no to the fourth mandate, is an already weakened people. They are weakened. Repression is to say, it is unequivocal. Draman Ouattara represses as he sees fit seems. The protesters also act as they see fit. A kind of disorder was instituted. No one listens, no one observes the law. Yes, the protesters are determined. So therefore, since the slogan electoral robbery, finally civil coup, many of populations are revolting. And so within the framework of this conference, it is from this news that we're going to talk. But before continue, thank you for sharing the conference to the maximum. Share it. There you go in all groups. Put lots of likes. And if you are new, don't forget to click on the subscribe button. Please subscribe to never miss the news again. We will continue to monitor what happens in Ivory Coast and give you real-time information. And so several NGOs for the defense of human rights call for respect human rights. Young people protesters were shot real. Where do these real bullets come from? Where do these live bullets come from? Is it just the police? You have to say that the army is intervening in the locality called Bihiri ou Zizikiso. Biri Zikiso. A young man was sent to rest eternal. A young protester was sent to eternal rest. Here, this 25 October 2025, he was sent to eternal rest. In another locality, there is another young man who was also sent to rest eternal. There, it's a little boy. There you go. And it's in the town of Bigbe Zukugbe. There you go. This young man was sent eternal rest. Can't you put the pictures here, huh? Because these are images that the platform can't stand it, at the risk of seeing us being severely sanctioned. There you go. And so, in Yamsokro, the people refused to participate in the robbery electoral. Shop, store, business, everything is remained closed. The polling stations didn't work, except in a few rare places. And in the polling stations, you have a lot of protesters who entered, who have took the ballot boxes, which overthrew these ballot boxes. Yes. Whether it's Greg's, whether in Liabo, whether in Big, whether either in Dedegbe, that's it. Whether it's in Dahirube, the names are difficult to pronounce. You have many locations where the ballot boxes were overturned, but it must be said that so much so that the demonstration is repressed. The protesters who wanted to prevent the holding of the election did not really able to achieve 100% of their goal. It must be clarified. Fear is now the post-election period, since after these elections, the measures which will be taken by the authorities will be drastic. Everything the Attara's regime needed, it was that the election takes place there, that the day ends. The rest is there, it's finished. State security, question of national security, and then woe to whom? Whether it is because there it will begin the new sound, new power. In the hours to come, partial results who are already prepared will begin to go out, This complaint that the CEU filed against how we are going to say that, against the media, Abidjan.net, it was just a facade. It was smoke and mirrors. There you go. They already have all the results. And these results that they have, it is by region. They will only broadcast. And then after, we will say no, so much that the work went well. There you go. The results come out on time. However, it is prepared. So in San Pedro, by example, the Ivorians refused to take part. In San Pedro, most polling stations remained closed. Yes, there is another location, moreover, who distinguished herself, who has burned a lot of tires. This is the locality of Brofume. Yes, they also said no to the fourth mandate. There you go. And so in the other locality, Didakame, here it is. It didn't work either. It was the same thing to Diva too. It's worse. Yes, the old centers, most of them are remained closed. Many localities. This place where you see young people broke the ballot boxes, and it's in Divo. Yes, where the members of the polling stations were driven out. So it must be said that it is a great risk that the protesters took, since in the videos that are circulating, in the pictures, they look good identifiable. Which means that after the repression that will follow is this which will risk triggering to trigger something else. And so the situation is very tense on the side of the Republic of Ivory Coast. Ouattara has carried out his robbery. His regime was exposed, but he will force the situation. The real question is whether the opposition will let it happen, because that the opposition has borrowed a kind of path of no return. There you go. And so, ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, that was the headline news. We will continue to follow this news from the Ivory Coast. Everything that will come from this, we will come back to talk about it.